And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Hey, listen, give me a whole second. I just had to adjust the GoPro. Welcome back. This is episode 150 of this show. As you can see, as you can tell, I have just came back from work. Actually, I've been home for about half an hour now. It is 4:37. Yes, during this pandemic, during this pandemic, I am still going to work because I do have the one job in television where I need access to the servers at all points. So it turns out for the past week, I have not been doing anything at work. I think let's see. Yesterday was the first time I watched some. I did some work. Yesterday. Today is Thursday, the 19th of March. So Wednesday was the first time I did something since maybe last Monday or something. I mean, something substantial. we were in a slow period already, but then this pandemic hits and people are working from home and doing this and all that. So I've just I've gotten it's insane that this virus has, some upside to it because people who still need to go to work, people who need to get out and move around and move about and stuff, traffic is lighter, especially in Atlanta. It's crazy. I could get from Buckhead, which is the rich and douchey part of the city. All of it's rich and douchey. But I can get from Buckhead to Old Fourth Ward, which is basically, east of downtown, 10 minutes east of downtown, if that. So it's not even 10 minutes, 2 minutes. So, I mean, and then I can get from Buckhead to downtown in let's 15 minutes. Yesterday I got home in 12 on the highway, driving at a regular speed of 70 in my new car that I got. Yes, after the wreck, drove a rental car. Finally got my new car. It's a hybrid again, of course. Not a plug-in hybrid this time. It's a hybrid, a little bit slower, Kia Niro. It's a crossover that's basically a hatchback. That's not a crossover. but this pandemic people are dying. We got numbers from Italy. 3,405 people have died. 3,405 people passed away because of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. Very sad. And this is going to be... the social distancing, everybody's sitting in. I know you're tired of hearing about this, but this entire episode's about the coronavirus. So, and news time. I've had to, anyway, hold on. Before I get to that, but social distancing, we're going to be living like this for months. It's going to take 18 months, 12 to 18 months to find a cure. I think it's going to take less than that, but I think they give us the worst case scenario numbers. But then I think eventually people are just going to get tired of being inside. Because we have Trevor Noah, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, and Kimmel, and Conan, and Sam B, all at home making late night videos for their YouTube channels. If this had happened, if coronavirus had happened 10 years ago, it wouldn't have, people would just be inside. No one would know who's doing what. We don't have the social infrastructure at that point. But now, even though it's kind of annoying, how every day we have famous people coming on Instagram going, please stay inside, please. Oh, please stay inside. But it's also great, to have Gal Gadot release an Instagram video with Will Ferrell and Zoe Kravitz and a bunch of famous white people singing the song Imagine by John Lennon. I named the brown people and Will Ferrell, and then I just named everybody else's way. And then of course late night hosts are at home doing these videos. Conan's going to come back on March 30th, shooting the show at his house via iPhone and Zoom and Skype, and everybody's using Zoom. Crazy. I feel like that camera's off center. Give me a second. So now we're here. And coronavirus is part of our lives, and it's going to be like this for a little bit. And it's affecting everything: TV, music, blue collar jobs, white collar jobs, Wall Street, which is white collar, food. Well, I mean, what happens when, and then Amazon's hiring 100,000 workers, and then stores are hiring more workers, but they're also making less people work. So I don't know. So let's get into it. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, and I thought this was insane. Like I literally, God bless America. Google Docs on iPad is a very okay. I want to get this out of the way. So last week I said that this week I would have something that would make the audio sound better. I would have a device that records. I did, in fact, spend $400 on a device on a Zoom. I was very hesitant to buy it, not because of the price, because I'm reckless with my money, but because I fear it's been out for so long. I bought a Zoom H6, which is the best field recorder that Zoom has, for non-professionals. For non-professionals who want to look professional, but it can hook up to cameras, and you can hook up your laptops, and you can literally hook it, this microphone, which is the point of it, but literally hook anything up to it, and then you can control the sound from there and record directly to it. And excuse me, it's getting a little worked up. And so I ordered it, but my fear is it's been out since like the early 2010s, right? It's 2020 now. Yeah, it's been out since like the early 2010s. And it doesn't have a touchscreen. It's got like one button menu controls. But the reason why people are still buying it is because it is the best. It is the best. And even Zoom's latest products, they still they don't have touchscreens. They still have the one button control and all that stuff. However, this thing is so old. I just feel that if I bought this, if I went out and bought a PlayStation 4 now, well, the PS5 is coming out later this year. I mean, God willing that the coronavirus doesn't mess things up that long, but it probably will. But yeah, there you go. So my fear is that I buy this, and then all of a sudden, this thing goes on. The old one goes on sale. They have a Zoom H9 or something, and it comes out, and it's way better. It's touchscreen and this and that. So yeah. Anyway, so hopefully next week that'll be. Well, I ordered it. It has been pushed back due to the coronavirus, and I ordered it. I ordered it the day I have a huge interview coming up, and I ordered it the day that the interview was going to happen. So I'm sorry, excuse me, a week from the day. Okay, the interview's on Tuesday. I ordered it this past Tuesday, and it should be here Monday, which is crazy. If we weren't doing this coronavirus thing, it would be here now. It would be here today. I would have walked up to my apartment and it would have been sitting there. Hopefully it wasn't stolen, which is what I'm always afraid of. Knock on wood. Okay. Look at my forearm. Jesus. The gym closed. My gym closed, sadly. I promise we'll get to 8 minutes. I promise we'll get to the story that I pulled up. My gym closed. My gym is in a very busy area, and the building it's in happened to close down. And then I found out only that the building closed down, not even the gym. I found out that the building closed down via. It was on my iPad one night on Tuesday. Yeah, it was on Tuesday because the legs was the last thing I did. It was on Tuesday, and I was watching something, and I pulled up Google, and on Chrome, if you pull up a new tab, it'll show you a story like right down here. And I saw that. I saw. It's from eater.com that this building was closed, and I went, oh my God, are you kidding me? So I started calling around. No, it wasn't 9 o'clock. It was like 4 o'clock, 4:30. And I called this other gym. This is embarrassing. I called this other gym that's nearby, and I was like, this 24-hour fitness gym. And I was like, hey, do you guys have free trials? And this guy had, as if he'd gotten 15 calls that entire day. No, we don't have a free trial. You have to come in. You have to pay $50 a month. And I was just like, all right, thanks. So yesterday, I did Nike bodyweight workouts, which have truly, I really enjoy doing bodyweight workouts, but I prefer free weights. I don't like machines. I do use machines, but I do not like them. But I prefer free weights. I like a rack. I like doing cleans and thrusters. Look them up. I like to do Olympic style workouts because it keeps the whole body in shape. Anyway, so this is so stupid. So yesterday during work, I go, you know what? I'll go to Play It Again Sports. I'll go to Goodwill, and I'll see if they have any weights, because they usually do have weights. Play It Again Sports, all the weights sold out. The guy's like, we got a shipment in, and then it was just bought out. People were thinking just like you. I was like, dang. So I went to Goodwill next door. He's in Buckhead. Still, no weights. I'm like, dang, all right, you know what? And at this point, it's probably been like 30 minutes. I probably should get back to work. I didn't. I headed to Dick's Sporting Goods at Lenox Mall, near Lenox Mall. And it's a three-story Dick's Sporting Good, huge. I walked in. They hadn't opened yet. This is like 11 o'clock in the morning. I did leave work. So like I said, getting to work has been easy. So I get there at like 7:30 now. But it opens at 11 o'clock. So I get there at like 10:45, and I'm just sitting there waiting for it to open. And I look around, and it's a Dick's Sporting Goods connected to a parking garage. It's also connected to a Publix and a Target. Yes, and they're all like two floors, except for the Publix. So anyway, so I'm sitting outside the Dick's Sporting Goods in my car, and there's like a line of like maybe 10 people. 10 people just milling about outside the Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm going, oh my God, they're going to buy weights too. So I wait for it. It opens, and it's like 11:02, and I sit there for like 2 minutes. I go inside. I don't know. I didn't know it's a 3-story Dick's Sporting Goods. I get in there. I go, oh God. So I don't want to run to their weights immediately. I just pretend to mill about downstairs on the first floor. I go to the second floor, mill about, walk around. Third floor, get up there. All the weights are gone. Every single weight, with the exception of like 2-pound Pilates weights. And I go, oh my gosh, you kidding me? So I look around. I see they have like boxing stuff, and then the only thing they have left are like 10-pound bumper weights, like 2 10-pound bumper weights, one 25-pound bumper weight, which is like the Olympic weights where you can clean them and then drop them and all that stuff. And then they also have med balls and exercise balls. So I ended up buying a $50 20-pound slam ball, not even a medicine ball, a slam ball, which is a ball you can use just to do slams or anything it can't bounce, essentially. Medicine ball, it can bounce, it can still be 20 pounds and bounce. Slam ball is mostly meant for these just hard-hitting slam things. And I immediately regretted it. And then I also bought another, and I sit on an exercise ball at work, so I bought another exercise ball, but this one's weighted. So now I have 2 exercise balls. Crazy. So anyway, let's get into this first story. And then I asked this guy was walking around who worked at Dick's Sporting Goods. He was walking around, and there's other people up there looking for weights too. And he's asking like, hey, can I help you guys? And people are like, there's no weights and stuff like this. And then he gets to me and goes, can I help you? I go, no, let me ask you a question. Is it all fat people buying weights pretending they're going to work out? And he just laughs and he like kind of plays it off. He's like, no. I mean, everybody's coming here to work out. I'm like, it's all fat people. I know it. This is why I'm alone. Listen, let's go on to the story. Come from Hollywood Reporter. Apple could look to acquire Disney amid stock drop, analyst says. This is written by, it's no byline, George Zilai. Okay, this is something I just want to go over really quick. I thought it was insane. There have been massive drops. I think you can hear my eye, me scratching my eye. Also, don't touch your face, Chad. There have been massive drops in the Dow Jones Industrial. As if I know what I'm talking about. And the S&P 500. Then there have been like 1,300 point drops and everything. And companies are losing. The stock prices are just devaluing all over the place. And no one's buying stock anyway. Wall Street actually closed. They're going to digital only for a little bit. So Disney had a very hard drop. And now, apparently, Rosenblatt securities analyst Bernie McTiernan. Was that TV or was that outside? I Feel Pretty is on Showtime, and I put it on, and because ESPN has nothing to air. That's what I usually be watching if I was recording. I would hurry this up. For example, suggested that Apple, led by CEO Tim Cook, could consider acquiring the Walt Disney Company, led by Bob Chapek now, after its stock dropped below the $100 mark last week. Now, obviously, this is just a hypothetical. But this is stupid. Why would you even... This is the most clickbaity And I don't blame George over at Hollywood Reporter for writing this, but this is the most inane thing that you could possibly say, especially at this time. Well, Apple could buy Disney because Disney done effed up. You know? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And Apple, and then George reached out. Apple didn't respond to a request for comment. I mean, no one's even thinking about that. No companies are thinking about acquisitions, with the exception of Fox, which apparently bought Tubi this week. Remember when I talked about that a couple weeks ago? And then the next thing I'll talk about is From the Cut, which is a New York sister site, written by Madeline Agler. The German Big Brother contestants and the Canadian Big Brother contestants don't know that there is a pandemic going on. Because you have these things in Big Brother. Big Brother, if you don't know, is a reality show where you take people, stick them in the house, and see if they can get along, and then they vote each other out and stuff, and you can win money and stuff. But you don't get to watch TV, you don't get the news, you don't get music. All you do is have these people and alcohol and food, and so these people don't know what's going on. And then so much so that on the Canadian one, they're talking about like how they noticed that there wasn't because there's like live elements too, and they noticed that there wasn't an audience. They said usually you can hear them by now, and they started talking about how there's no audience watching them anymore. And they said, what's going on outside? What's going on outside? And then all of a sudden there's a voice, like one of the producers is like, please stop talking about that. Which is insane. This is a crazy thing. It's a crazy world we live in, where these people are now don't know what's going on. I think they should be informed. They should get like one newspaper and go, hey, look, we checked through your families, everybody's fine, but listen, there is a disease going on, an outbreak. Listen, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna hit some very big TV news. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right. That was very weird. No one knows what happened here. Every time I open this Digislate app on my iPad, the audio jumped down, and it wouldn't. Anyway, it's nothing important. Getting ready for the second portion of this show. I Feel Pretty is now on the part where Amy Schumer fell off her bike at SoulCycle, and she believes that she's pretty. God, that movie is so funny. It is so funny. But the trailer makes it seem like it is the funniest movie in the world. I enjoy I Feel Pretty, and I really want to watch it again, but the trailer was the best trailer for a comedy I've ever seen. It made me laugh so hard. All right. Let's move on. ESPN, this comes from Variety. ESPN and other sports channels are looking to open up their programming because maybe I should just... I'm getting like a white halo around my head. It's been here the entire time. Because obviously, they can't air sports. Like if you turn on ESPN or Fox Sports 1 or NBC Sports right now, or CBS Sports right now, you will see just re-aired stuff. The only thing that's new is SportsCenter. The Today Show, Samantha Guthrie. Ms. Guthrie is shooting it from her house, apparently. I never watched. But again, the late night guys and girl, Samantha, they're all doing their own different thing, and I love it. I think it's so creative, and it really opens them up. I really wish they wouldn't... we get it. Stay inside. Stop telling me to stay inside. Okay. This comes from Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. ESPN Moles, my good friend. ESPN Moles, weeks filled with live talk, classic games, and maybe some surprises. So ESPN, they're talking about bringing back the Ocho Day and some other things. The Ocho Day was like if I remember correctly, I think it was things that were sports adjacent. So things, dodgeball. It was dodgeball, the dodgeball thing. If you've seen the movie Dodgeball, Jason Bateman and Gary Cole played these announcers at the final dodgeball tournament and they had ESPN The Ocho. It was their fake sister channel network, and they're gonna do some like robot fighting and stuff that they normally wouldn't air on ESPN. So now we're gonna have like more Ocho stuff, hopefully. And then, of course, they've got some more. Fox Sports 1 is going to do some new emphasis on the quote-unquote Hot Talk studio shows. Oh, no, never mind. Rivals are facing similar circumstances. So Fox has put its quote-unquote Hot Talk studio shows on hiatus. The NFL Network, the league's own cable outlet, cut production for the time being of Good Morning Football, which is such a great show, which is so difficult to watch on the NFL Network app. If you have it on Xbox, if you have it on PlayStation, if you have it on Android, iOS, it's difficult to watch, even if you have a cable login. Ridiculous. NFL Network. Let's see. So in the past few weeks, Sports Center, Get Up, and First Take are the only shows that have basically made their own, have basically become the only thing that's aired on ESPN. And I don't even know what they're talking about, but yesterday, Michael Irvin joined Stephen A. Kellerman on the First Take, and they argued about the big moves, Tom Brady, Dallas Cowboys, all that stuff, Dak Prescott, all the Dallas Cowboys, getting that franchise tag, baby. I'm a Cowboys fan. They're going to start airing some classic games, which I've already been seeing on the air, and then some other stuff. Eventually, they're going to be doing the draft, via a televised event. It's something that you can't go to, obviously, but boy, we'll get to this later, but this really has screwed some things up. They're going to do hopefully some 30 for 30 marathons, but they're going to, but know that they're not just going to do those 3 talk shows and classic re-airs of games. They're going to have some new stuff, because you're home, you're quarantined, you're going to want to see some stuff that's not, a Netflix original or a show on Hulu, like a Cheers on Hulu, even though I watch Cheers on Netflix. Why is Cheers on everything? Cheers is on Netflix, Hulu, and CBS All Access. And Amazon. I only want to watch it on one. I made my decision. It's Netflix. Speaking of television, this comes from a Harvard Reporter. 120,000 entertainment industry crew jobs have been lost thus far during the pandemic. IATSE, it's IATSE in shorthand, but it is what is the longhand? International Cinematographers Guild and Motion Picture Editors Guild. IATSE. There's no S in there. Whatever. Anyway, they sent out a letter that said it's devastating time, obviously, has been for everybody. And they've got standardized 2 weeks of pay from their more responsible employers. The IA intends to address those employers who are not following suit. So essentially, everybody's getting paid. Mark Cuban is paying staff at the Dallas Mavericks where they play. Same thing for, Matt Ryan donated $100,000 to restaurant workers funds, I believe. And so there's different funding being set up by famous people or by people like you and me who just want to give money to people who don't have secure ways of making money. If they're in gig economies, if they're just low income, it's just stuff like that, which is beautiful, which is nice, which is lovely. And then even more so for the television industry, when you're out of a job, when everything's shut down, when production shut down, there's no money coming in. It's insane that restaurants have to lay people. Like, you don't have to lay people off, obviously, but a lot of them have to resort to that. Like, good people laying off good people because there's no money coming in, and obviously you can't. Anyway, both ICG and MPEG, where are these letters coming from? Pointed out that the Motion Picture and Television Fund and the Actors Fund are prepared to provide financial assistance. Same thing goes for Broadway. I believe there's one fund, and that's got to pay all the Broadway actors, but then there's also different charities. There's one, Broadway World, I believe, is a streamer, or Broadway HD, something like that. You can pay $10 a month or $100 a year to stream Broadway shows, but not like, Hamilton or stuff like that. Not Dear Evan Hansen. I was gonna say Dear Evan Johnson, but shows like Hello Dolly, like old Oklahoma, just old stuff, and not even like the current cast, like the cast you like. But some of that money, some of those funds from Broadway World or Broadway HD, whatever it is gonna go to the actors. I also read something on the Times, because I subscribe to Times, that a couple of playwrights who sold their plays to these Broadway theaters, they get paid money, something like $5,000 to, 20 grand to 10 grand, something. That's not a lot. You're starting at $5,000 to a lot of money. They sell their play to these theaters, and then the theaters have been asking for their money back, going like, hey, can we get that money back? We got to pay these people. This is crazy insane. So now we've got to deal with that. But, however, the TV industry may be in trouble. Continuing off of that. So those people are out of a job, but pilot season is also, those people are out of a job, and pilot season 2020 is in turmoil because pilots are getting pushed. So what happens is, around this time, television networks, the big five, Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, and the CW, and then also their streaming brethren and their cable brethren, sisterin, and their premium cable, sisterin, they're all ordering shows for right now. And they're all looking at scripts, and they're going, okay, this script is good, this script is bad, blah, blah, blah. That's what's supposed to happen. And then they're supposed to, and if they like a script, and they'll go, we'll order a pilot. They order a pilot, the pilot goes to series. I mean, you order a pilot, they like the pilot goes to series. But now, since we don't have that luxury, and the upfronts are being canceled, upfronts is where they take those new shows and the old shows, and they say, hey, advertisers, you want to advertise with this show, with these shows over here. And the advertisers go, okay, we'll give you money for that. And so now that that's in jeopardy, what's happening? This comes from Deadline, written by Nelly and Driva. Pilot season 2020 is my good friend in turmoil due to the coronavirus as pilots get pushed. So what's happening now? The thought process is now, even though these pilots are in jeopardy. Some pilots were in the midst of being made before being shut down. Some were finished. Some hadn't even started. Some didn't even have writers' rooms. They just had the idea. So what's happening? What could happen now potentially? Hold on. Is this that article or is it something different? I'll get to that in a second. So the pilots that don't get made, almost all the broadcast pilots are just like not even being made right now. What could happen? So Nelly writes, June would normally be considered cycled, but this year, the so-called cycle is being turned on its head by the coronavirus crisis. Yesterday, all broadcast networks canceled their glitzy in-person May upfront presentations, which have served as the accumulation and finish line of pilot season. All have opted for alternative ways to present their new shows and lineups to advertisers, largely televised/streamed presentations without an audience. So, but because of the fast-moving situation and the uncertainty surrounding the spread of the virus, it is unclear when many of the 2020 broadcast pilots will be made. That may boost chances of bubble shows getting renewed for next season, as networks will need content for the fall. So what can happen is they can either order a pilot blindly, and this is explained more in the next thing I'll talk about, but they can networks can order a pilot blindly and just trust and the actors and the director and the producer and the pilot itself that this is going to be good. Or they can, I forgot what I was going to say. Or these shows that have been sitting on the bubble, your shows like Sunnyside, which was canceled last year. And then NBC said, okay, we'll air the rest of your episodes. Or your shows like, what else is, what's that choir show? God. And it is about God too. Okay, so you take Sunnyside. Sunnyside's on the bubble. And then NBC could go, you know what? We're not gonna order this many pilots, so we kind of need to show to fill that Thursday slot. So we'll give them one more season or something like that. So that's what could happen. Those are one of two ways. So now, finally, this comes from the Hollywood Reporter. TV has mostly stopped production. What happens next? Written by Leslie Goldberg. Just the heavy hitters of writers today. Oh, excuse me. My best friend, my good friend. That's what I usually say. So what does a shutdown really mean? So the first, she has this splayed out in a very well-written format. Two types of shutdowns have emerged. The first is going to basically bring an abrupt end to the shows you like. So Law & Order SVU, let me go to Superstore. Superstore, America Ferrera was supposed to leave at the end of the season. They're supposed to get 22 episodes. They only managed to shoot 21. So they just kind of had to, kick her out at the end of at the episode of 21. Law & Order, if they're going to do 22 episodes, again, 21. Anything you didn't get shot is probably not going to get made. Or two, it's kind of like a hiatus where, Conan will do 3 weeks worth of shows. They'll go on break for a week, come back, do 4 more weeks of shows, go on break for a week, come back. Basically the off times, when the off weeks when your shows aren't airing, when there's no new Law & Order, when there's no new God Friended Me, when there's no new Simpsons, no new Masked Singer. Bella Hadid was on this Masked Singer last night, which was, Sarah Palin, Bella Hadid, Lil Wayne, and what? Who's picking these people? And then also shows like Fargo, which haven't had, which wrote Noah Hawley and that team. They wrote 10 episodes, only shot 8. That show is just moving off the calendar altogether. It was supposed to be in before Emmy season, and it's just going to move to next year. So Emmy season's up in jeopardy as well. So, can all these shows pick up where they left off? Yes and no. If you want to pick up where you left off, then you're going to have to start doing something where Leslie wrote down that they quoted, multiple sources were quoted for, if they want to follow the Center for Disease Control's ideas of, you have to keep, groups of less than 50 people, and you have to stay 6 feet away from each other, 6 feet apart, 2 meters away from each other. I think that's true. Then there are people going to have to work in shifts. So, essentially makeup's going to come in, makeup's going to do your makeup, blah, blah, blah. You leave. Then the gaffers are going to come in, they'll build the set, stuff like that, essentially. Or like one editor comes in and then another editor comes in. So you're basically working shifts. You're still getting paid, you're still making the show, but you're just not having, instead of having 120 people around, you only have 50 people around, and everybody's coming. Or instead of having 10 PAs, you have 5 PAs, and they're all stretched thin. So what happens in the interim? So many studios will have to decide how long they can hold productions before moving off a planned delivery date. So either they take the episodes that they were going to shoot for the end of the season, so like a season finale will become a season premiere, and instead of Law & Order doing 22 episodes this year, they do 21, and then next season they do 23. They take that last episode that was going to be 22 for this season and just throw it on top of that. But that's not conducive for everybody. That could not possibly work for every single season, because a lot of these shows, Superstore, Law & Order, God Friended Me, they're all story based. But the Masked Singer, The Masked Singer, Family Guy, The Simpsons, like that they can take an episode off and throw that on next season, excuse me. But the silver lining, plenty of shows have been quietly stockpiling scripts already in anticipation of a possible Writers Guild strike. So the Writers Guild has been striking since last April. Not striking, but they've been feuding with the production companies and all those other companies and casting and all that stuff, and not casting, but the agents and stuff. They've been feuding with the agents, and so it's been kind of a tense year on that. So for a lot of these shows, some of them they wrote scripts ahead of time. They broke story ahead of time because if there's not a renewal for the agents between the agencies and the Writers Guild, then they can just go, all right, well, these scripts have already been written, the story's already been broken. We're just going to take what we have and we're going to make what we can from that. Because you want to be in a better position than you were when there was a writer strike in 2009, something like that, 2008, 2007, 2008. That was when the most recent writer strike was. So what happens to all the pilots? Again, like I said, most likely either straight to series, and you just have faith, pray to God that show is good. And then also the on the bubble shows are going to most likely stay. And the season as we know it, obviously, abrupt ending, cut off. Superstore, abrupt ending. Family Guy, not so much. It's just a cartoon. So, anyway, the coronavirus is really affecting everybody. From the shows you love to the shows you hate. Movies, push back. Minions, push back, baby. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head on over to our website, cpluscomedy.com, where we've got so many good comedy interviews that you'll be like, whoa, that person? He's talking to that person? Like next week, hopefully, if this happens. Hopefully, if this big interview happens. And when I say big, I don't mean like Brad Pitt. I mean like why is he talking to this person? I was excited. I got the note, I got the email, and I was like, yes, please. I said yes immediately. The moment I opened it, I said, please let me talk to this person. Then if you want to see a video version of this podcast, youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You can see me sitting in the button-up shirt, my thick glasses, sunny outside, and these nice tight red chinos that make my legs look so thick because I did a boxing workout this morning and my legs still kind of hurt because it was really leg focused for some reason. Blame Nike. And then also, you can see the camera shut off. You can see News Time, which is our weekly news show that is now a coronavirus show. How coronavirus infected the entertainment industry. You can find that at youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Take one story. And, yeah. I had to throw out, but like, I had News Time for the first time in a long time planned until June. And then I just had to throw the last two stories because of the coronavirus thing. Poor me. Anyway, youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the show. Goodbye.